We are currently dealing about the memory management, and we saw what was the stack data structure and how it is basically implemented in Python. Like with stack, we have another memory model which is used to store objects in Python. That is basically a data structure, memory data structure, which is called as heap. So in today's video, let's understand what is heap and some of the prerequisites before we get into what is basically heap. So the program is just simple. I could just run and just show you the output, but that does not serve the purpose of understanding what is heap. So heap is an essential data structure. When you are a full stack developer, you know what is the importance of heap. So in other programming languages like C and C++, you basically create heap, and there are different algorithms like heap sort. Then you have priority queues, which are the uh, applications of this heap data structure. So when it comes to heap memory, which is there in Python, it is already present inside the compiler, or compiler will do the heap process, but we need to understand what these different processes are. Just a small reminder that this will not be a data structure lecture. So just a quick idea of what these heaps are and what are the prerequisites that you basically should know in order to understand a heap completely. So my motivation will be to guide you through all of those concepts which are basically leading to the heap. So our final story ends in heap. As you know, memory management is done automatically in Python. So memory allocation and deallocation, everything is done automatically in Python. So you need not worry about basically of this memory management structures, where it is used and how it is being used efficiently. But somewhere or the other places, the performance thing comes into place, because when we run certain algorithms, we saw in deep neural networks or in other machine learning models, especially even if our model is simpler with fewer lines of code, but due to the humongous size of the dataset, it becomes uh, a headache, or like it becomes a bottleneck for the underlying architecture or whatever GPU we were using, that is the Google back engine. So there it becomes a overhead for executing these operations, because it has to read the entire data set. So that complexity is very much high. So it also grows exponentially, sometimes it grows logarithmically. So those all things comes under the performance engineering department, which is there internally, which is managed by different engineers and so on. So basically, our motivation will be to understand the heap data structure. It is most widely used in all of the data structure algorithms we basically know. So if you are also preparing for an interview, this video might give you a small glance of what the heap data structure is, and it might help you in future also. Okay, so we'll not elaborate it much further. So let's begin. So before getting into the heap data structure, what you currently see on the screen, you might be familiar. So this is nothing but a decision tree. So before a decision tree, we'll just break down into one more granular level. That is, this is a binary tree. Means there are two-way splits. So this is essentially a binary tree. So the log calculations which you do, that will be logarithm to the base 2, since you have two-way splits. Now let's not bring decision tree into this picture. Just consider this as a binary tree. So, one main important thumb rule or golden rule is that whenever you insert the elements into a binary tree, you do it in a left to right fashion as indicated by this arrow. So, and side by side, I have a list. So this you can also consider as a stack. So we have also seen the stack model in Python. So this is a tilted stack. If you just rotate it above, one end will be open and one end will be closed. So this is the closed end and this is the open end. So from here you do the insertion. So I'll just make this here. Uh, from this place you do the insertion. So insertion will be done at the head. So when you insert the elements in this particular data structure, that is this tree, it is done in a left to right fashion. So let's take some elements to insert into this. So first I'm putting A. So say I'm putting element A into this. So as soon as I put this element A, that is at the top, this element A inside this particular list, it is stored in this way. So first element when it goes here, it goes at the very first position, that is at index 1. And just one more thing, whenever in data structure we implement these uh, heaps and stacks, everything, its index basically starts from 1. And whenever we do programming in Python or any other language, its index basically starts from 0. So this thing what you see, that is this part, this is basically a list. So we implement list and we convert that list basically into a heap. We'll see the program, that is fewer lines of code, which is simple, but just to make sure like we want to understand the concepts, that's why I'm doing this. Okay, so next element what we have is we have B. So when you insert element B, you have to insert at this position. So B will come here, and accordingly in the list B will be put at the second position. Then C will come here, that is this way. So it is following this particular order that you currently see. So element C will go here. Then after that element D. So element D takes place somewhere here, and in the list it goes here. Then element E goes here. It is inserted into the list. So why we are putting into the list? Because we want to maintain a data structure. So internally it is not stored in this tree, but we are using a list. So list is our primitive data structure that is already present in Python. We convert that list into a heap. And then we have element F. So element F is put here inside the list. It is put at this position. And finally, we have element G. It is put at this index 7. So this is basically how we fill elements onto a heap, and correspondingly I have shown the list representation, how the insertion is basically done. So there are a few rules or a few places where you can access the list elements. Its parent, its child, its left child, its right child, as you currently see on the screen, which is written in blue font. So any particular node, so it will have an index I. So I is for in general. So here we have index that starting from 1 to 7, corresponding to 7 number of nodes from A to G. Any elements left child is at position 2 times I. So let's take one element. So let's take 4. Its left child will be 4 into 2, that is 8. So here what we currently have is 2 into 4, that is 8. So its left child, that is D. Currently we don't have any left child here. So because D itself is the left element, there is no element present after that or before that. So D is the extreme. So that's basically stack overflow or a list overflow that you basically observe. But if you take any element like element 3, so its left child will be at position 6. So that is 3 into 2, 6. So for element C, its left child is F, that you can make out from this particular graph. its right child will be at position 2 times I plus 1. So it will be 6 plus 1, that is 7. So at the 7th position we have element G. And similarly for element B, if you want to check the left child, it's at 2 into 2, that is 4. So at the 4th position element D is present, and at 5th position, that is element E, is present. If we want to check for A, that is left child is present at second index, so that is B, and right child at index 3, so that is C. So A is basically the root element, and then you have some elements, intermediate nodes, and then leaf nodes. So this is basically a node link diagram. So this, that is a node link diagram. So that is simple. And then for any element, the parent is located at I by 2, and you have to take the floor value of it. Now floor value means if it is in decimal, so you count what element is to the left hand side of it. So let's take an element, say uh, I want to identify the parent of element G. So element G is here. So this is element G, and by looking at this diagram you get to know like the root element of G is C, but according to this formula it will be 7 by 2, which will be 3.5. So if you do a floor, it will be rounded off to the integer value, that is 3. So at position 3, which element is present, that is C. So this is how it basically works. And say if you want to check what is the root element of A, but you don't know which is the root element or which are the leaf elements, but you can basically apply this formula, that is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 is 0.5. If you take the floor value, that is basically 0. So A itself is the root element. So this is how the basic binary tree basically looks like. So my idea was to just give you a basic understanding of this binary tree and how it's represented and how the elements are put and what are its left child and right child traversals, how it is basically done. Now let's move on to the second concept after this. So what we now move on to is something called as full and complete binary tree. So I'll just write the heading here, full and complete binary tree. So what you previously saw here, this was a balanced tree. Now how it is balanced? Because now we are doing a binary split here, means from each node there will be two outgoing links. So from A we have two outgoing links, that is B and C, and from B we have D and E, from C we have F and G. So there are no new space to add any element, so everything is completely fit. So this will call as a full binary tree. Now as opposed to this, what is a complete binary tree? So just look at this diagram, which is on this side, that is this particular one. So uh, I'll just not label or put any values into this, just this is for your basic understanding. What is so we have understood what is called as a full binary tree. Now what do you mean by complete binary tree? So if you look at this particular tree, which is on the left hand side of the screen, you see it's not full, because in order to be called to be this particular diagram to be full, there should be two outgoing links like this, and you have to put two nodes here in this place. Then only it will be called as a full binary tree. Now here you don't have these two elements which I currently drawn, but you have only the black part, black nodes, black structure. So there you call it as a binary tree. That is a complete binary tree. Now if you look on to this diagram, that is this one, if you ask whether this is a full tree, at the first place this is not a full tree. Second, uh, is it a complete tree? No, it is not a complete tree. Why? Because you can see, just focus on these two parts. That is this node, that is a root node. So root node, it's okay. You have put the root node. Then these two elements you have put. But the problem is with this particular node. So this is put onto the second subchild. So this is the first subchild and this is the second subchild. So this is put onto the right side of the second first subchild. So if this was put even in this way also, this would be incorrect. So this does not qualify for complete binary tree. So this is not a complete binary tree. So how do you make it as a complete binary tree? Instead of putting this node here or this link here, this should not exist. You should create one more link here. So as I said, the filling of elements or insertion of elements goes in a left to right fashion. So you have to maintain that order in this. So then only it will be called as a complete and full binary tree. So for any heap to qualify, or for any data structure to qualify as a heap, it should satisfy both full as well as complete binary tree. So these are the two prior conditions for any data structure to be called as a heap. Now let's move on to the third discussion. So I have a couple of annotations to do before we actually move on to the program or the code of heap. Now here there are two concepts, or basically heap in Python or heap in general is of two types. First is called as a max heap and second is called as a min heap. Now in Python, when you do the implementation, min heap is by default. So you need not do the implementation of min heap in Python, it's already present. The implementation that we are going to do in this video is about the max heap. Now question is, what is max heap and min heap? That is very simple. So in max heap, you can see that the topmost element here is 50. So the node or the element which has the highest value will be present at the topmost place or at the apex. So in max heap, the element which has the highest value, that will be present at the topmost level, and then the subsequent two childs will have lesser value as compared to the parent. So 30 is the immediate next child and 20 is the immediate next child, which is to the right and this is to the left. And to the left subchild of 30 we have 15 and then 10. So these two values are less than its parent, and 18 and 15 are less than 20. So if this kind of architecture or this kind of principle is followed in a heap, then it is called as a max heap. It is as simple. So as opposed to max heap, min heap will be the reverse. So the root element or the topmost element will have the smallest value. So the topmost element here is 10, which has the smallest value, and all the immediate other nodes, that is its subchild, will have values greater than its parent node. So 30 and 20, then 35 and 40, 32 and 25. So this architecture, that is min heap, is there by default in Python implementation. What we need to do is we need to convert, or we need to create a heap which is a max heap. Okay, so we have discussed these many concepts. Now what we need to discuss is how we can do the insertion and deletion. So basically these two operations in Python are called as push and pop. So how do you do it basically? So this particular diagram which you currently see on this left hand side, so this is if I ask you whether this is a complete or a full binary tree, it is both. It is full as well as complete binary tree from the discussion we have made so far. So now what I want to do is I want to add an element or insert an element which is having value that is 60. So just keep one thing in mind: whenever you add an element onto the heap, it will not only add the element at the required position or at the correct appropriate position, but internally it will do some sorting. So that is basically called as heap sort. That is a different story altogether in data structures and algorithms. We'll not talk about that, but we'll do how the basic sorting is done in this particular scenario. So now my existing model is like this, or my existing heap is in this way, which you see on the right hand side, and I want to insert the element 60 onto this. How will I basically do that? So first, how do we do the insertion or element filling? We fill the elements in a left to right fashion. So we should follow this particular pathway, that is as this arrow what it says. So how do you basically fill? So whenever this particular element comes in, so it will have a position somewhere here. So it should be added in this position. So here a node and then a link would be created in this way. So now how do we put the elements? So if I say like I want to push 60, now just compare this value of 60 with all the current existing values in the tree that you are going to insert. So 60 is the highest value among all these values which are currently here in this tree. So and we want to implement a max heap. So as per the principle of max heap, the highest value should come at the top, right? So 60 should come at this particular position where my cursor is currently there. So we can't directly add 60 onto this. So first of all, we want to do some kind of sort. So I'll just make the changes over here. So we want to add 60 to this particular structure, and say, or if I, okay, we are good with this. Okay, so now say I want to insert 40 here. So insert 60. I'm sorry, we want to insert 60. So 60 is at this position. So this is just, you do the insertion. This is the correct insertion you do, but this will not serve the purpose of the max heap. This is a full and complete binary tree, what you see on this left hand side, but this is not a max heap. We want a max heap. So how it does a sorting? So it does a sorting by comparing the element onto the previous position, which is there on the top. So it will basically compare 60 with 15. So whichever element has the highest value, it will move to the topmost position. So basically 60 and 15 will swap the position. So 15 will basically go here and 60 will go up. So whatever I write in the red font, that is the updated value. So 15 will basically go here and 60 will go on the top. Now again we check 60 with 30. So 60 should move up. So it will go here, and at this position 30 goes. So 30 is at this position, and then 60 with 50. So 60 finally moves on to the top and 50 goes in place of 60 in this position. So this is how you do the insertion basically. So let me just write onto this. So 60 goes at the top, then comes 50, then comes 30, and then comes 15, and here you have 10, which is unchanged by the insertion, and this particular subtree is itself a small heap inside it. So that is a sub heap which you see here. So this is a small sub heap. So now it is basically sorted and it serves the purpose of max heap. So now this can be called as max heap. So this is a max heap, and it is full and complete binary tree. So just a golden rule to keep in mind is that for any heap to satisfy, it first has to satisfy for full and complete binary tree check. Then only you do the sorting and then you convert it to max heap. Okay, so we have now done the insertion or pushing of the element onto the stack, and we have understood. Now we want to understand how will the pop happens. So I'll give a better example of pop. So these are basically some pile of oranges. So when you go onto the fruit market, or whenever you go to buy vegetables, the fruit vendors or sellers, when they put vegetables or fruits, it is basically arranged in a piled order. So they are kept on top of each other, so in such a way that they form a pyramid structure and they don't fall down. So heap is this particular structure which you currently see. So this is a real life example of heap. So this is how heap is arranged from bottom to top. But here, when you keep the elements, you don't fill the elements in left to right fashion. That is an algorithmic way of filling the elements in left to right fashion. So when you create heap, it is basically created in bottom to top fashion, that is in this way. And now if I want to delete any element, so deletion is basically invoked with the help of pop method. So pop will basically delete the element, and say for example, if now one customer comes and he wants to uh, buy some fruits, so the vendor will basically uh, pop the element which is at the top. So that is the root element, that is the topmost element, and then he'll take this element out and this element out, this element as per the requirement. So pop will just only return the element which is at the root. So that is a one-time activity we have seen in stack also. We just invoke pop every time as we want to uh, just remove the elements from the stack. The similar principle is followed in heap as well. So as and when you pop the elements, the sorting will also happen, and then the indexing will change accordingly. And just one more thing, the time complexity, when it is considered, the time complexity of these algorithms for insertion and deletion, that ranges from big O of 1. So big O of 1, that is linear in time, and it ranges to big O of log n. that is the logarithmic value of n. So n is nothing but the number of elements that you basically have. And then there is one more principle, that is the final principle that we need to understand, that is the principle of heapify. So heapify is nothing but the process of creating a heap. So as in the very first annotation, I mentioned like we create a list and we then modify this list in order to create a heap. So how do we do this? So internally in Python we have a heap library and from that we modify this. But how this basically works? So for that I have this basic example. So first what we need to do is we need to do some checks. So first check is whether it's complete. Yes, it is complete. So a tick. Then whether it is full. Yes, it is a full binary tree. That is a complete and full binary tree. Now whether it's a heap and we want to implement max heap, if we see the maximum element that which is there in this, that is 40, and so 40 is not at the root of this, so this is not a heap. In fact, like we are calling it for max heap, so it is not a max heap. So how do we do the conversion, or how do we make it heap, or how do we call it as heapify? So this is just the insertion of elements into the binary tree. It is complete and full. So the list what you currently see here on this particular portion, that is this portion, is nothing but the way I have inserted the elements. So first I have element 10, so it came here. So element 10 came first here, then 20, then 15. So it fills in left to right fashion, and accordingly we put into the list. Now I want to sort this list in order to be called for a max heap. So first what happens is, first we check from this position. So assume this, the data structure, it is not linearly implemented. So just consider this as a fashion in this way. So assume that there is a wheel here and you have elements in this fashion. So in shape of a pie like this, which is divided into these many sectors. So currently we have just 6, just consider in this way. So the last element which is there, that is in this position, so that is 18. We have to start from that. So it's basically winded in this way. So when we want to unwind, we just cut from this position, and this is the last element that is present. So we basically has to target the last element, which is 18. So that is at the extreme end. So first we check whether there are any elements onto its left or right. So that is the root node or the root element. We call it as the leaf node. So it is the leaf. Then after that we have 25. So we go in this way. 25. Uh, Below 25, are there any elements to the right or left? No. We move on to 40. Are there elements to its left or right? No. We go on to 12. Are there elements to the left or right? No. Then we target this particular sub heap. So this particular portion or subtree, we check what element is there to the top. So currently element 15 is there. So we check that 15 with the highest value below which is present. So we find that is 25. We swap the positions of these two. So basically this will be 25 and this will be 15. So accordingly in the heap we have to change this. So in place of 15, now it will be 25, and in the place of 25 it will be 15. So we have to maintain the changes what we currently do. So we have to update the list as and when we do the changes onto the heap. So now this particular sub heap is a max heap, which you can see. So this itself is a sub max heap. So that is a sub max heap. We have one more to the left hand side of this. So we again check for this element. Is there any element that is higher value? So we check that is 40. So we swap the positions of 40. So 40 will go here, and in place of 40, 20 will come. So in place of 40, we get 20, and in place of 20, we get 40. So now this is again a sub heap, that is a sub max heap. Now we compare that value to the topmost value. We find which element is greater from 40 and 25. We then identify it is 40. We just swap, that is this to 40 and this to 10. So in place of 10, we put 40, and in place of 40, we put 10. So the elements which are unchanged, that is 12 and 18, will have no effect. It was there originally and is preserved. So now this can be called as a complete max heap. So it satisfies the properties or the qualifications for being called as a heap. That is, it's a complete heap, full heap, and it's finally a max heap as you wish to process it. Now these are the basics of what the heap is and from where the story started, that is basically from binary tree. Now a simple implementation of this in Python, so that we have here. So this is basically a library that is present in Python that is called as heapq, and from heapq we are using some methods, that is heap pop, heap push, and heapify. Heapify, which we currently saw, it is basically an algorithm in order to convert any data structure into heap memory. And then for putting elements onto the heap, we have heap push, and for popping the elements, we have heap pop. Now these all methods reside inside the heap queue. So just to make it an interactive way, so I basically have a list. In that list, I'm putting oranges, and I'll put the oranges in such a way that the costlier orange, or which a foreign land orange, which is of exported quality or imported quality, those orange will be at the top. So that represents the top of the heap. So I want to basically sort in that way. And first of all, this particular oranges, this is in list. So first I initialize a list, then I convert that list into a heap simply by just calling the heapify method. So oranges which are originally in list, it will now be a heap memory, so it will be converted to heap. So that can be realized as this part of the diagram, that is this one. So you have the heap in this way, that is a list. Now you put the elements onto this. So how do you put the elements? So as I mentioned, by default in Python we have the min heap. We have to convert that into a max heap. So we put the element, or we append or insert the element one by one. So heap push method takes two arguments, that is uh, the name of the heap or the list basically. So that list goes here, and then what element you have to put onto that. So basically this is 10. So here I am representing the cost of that particular orange. So now oranges can be like from the farm, it can be cheap orange, it's of smaller size, so it will have different cost. So just consider 10 as the cost of that orange, and that value I'm just multiplying it with -1. Now why -1? Because internally as I mentioned, it will be a min heap. So min heap will have value, a negative value. So that's why I'm just multiplying, with -1 to convert that to a max heap. So that's why I'm basically multiplying this particular value to be inserted into -1. Similarly, for other values which I want to put onto this heap, I'm doing this way. And this particular that is value, that is 160, that is a costliest orange, which should be at the top and which should be ideally at the peak or at the apex. So if you know, this particular data structure will look something like this: 10, 30 and 20. So it will be like this: 10, 20 and 30, and then 400. So in this way it will be represented in this way. So at the top of the stack we have orange with value, that is 400. Now what I do is I just print the topmost element of the heap. So as I mentioned, the index here basically starts from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. But in list we know the indexing starts from 0. That's why the top of the stack or the top of the list basically we address with oranges of 0. So that will fetch the element which is 400, and it will basically multiply. So it will give you the output as 400 and not -400. So there is a difference. If it's -400, that is to the negative scale, which falls onto the minimum value. So we want to convert that to the maximum value. That's why we are multiplying it by -1. And then we just print the elements of the heap. And for each element which are there in the heap, we are just printing whatever element is left, or whatever element structure is there, how it is arranged. And then we just use the heap pop method in order to pop the topmost element. So by default it will pop the element. You need not mention what element to be popped. So it understands internally, the algorithm will handle that popping activity. So it will return the topmost element, and then after removing the element, whatever values are left or whatever elements are left, it will basically print that in for loop. Let's go ahead and just run this. So you can see the topmost element of the heap, that is 160, which was the costliest. And now the heap elements are arranged in this way. So this is considered as the list. So first you insert it 10, then 20, then 30, then 160. And then the heap elements after removal, that is after the heap pop method, it just popped out 160. So you can understand that it was the head, and then it is left with 10, 30, 30, 10 and 20. So why this order changes? Now this order changes because the elements after removal, it basically has to sort. So that sorting it does basically. So well, that's all regarding the heap data structure and its implementation in Python. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found you got educated about this video, please do like, share, comment, and if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching this video.